Good morning. That moment when you leave your notes backstage. That's what's going on right now. I'm like, where are my notes? I left them backstage. Good morning, everybody. All doing okay? 8 o'clock, you alive? It's a beautiful day, isn't it? It really, really is. Good morning to you if you're watching us online as well. I want to echo the welcome that Cole gave you as well. We're in for a great time today because we're going to be talking to three of the most amazing people in our church. You are in for a treat. Three people that have really discovered what it is to belong. So I'm going to invite them up in a moment. The first person that we're going to be hearing from is Joy Dickens. Joy is an incredible lady in our church. She's not only a life group leader, but she is also on the worship team, also on our Kids Zone admin team. She serves all across this church. If there's anything you want to know, just find Joy. And after you've met her today on stage, you'll want to spend all the time you can with her. She is an amazing, amazing woman. Her folks are incredible people. She's married to Brandon. They've got the most gorgeous kids and just people that bring a light into your life. That's Joy. And after I've sold her so well, I have to move to Georgie, because George is in a pink shirt today. You're going to hear all about that pink shirt. George is a Man United fan. Any Man United fans in the house? George is a huge Man United fan, and he will tell you a story about what that has cost him over the last. But George is not only a Man United fan, he is an amazing man with a huge heart. George helps drive me between the campuses when we're shuttling on Sundays. Not only does he do that, George's main function at Thrive is to lead the Serve the City team. There's a team of people in our church that he spearheaded. It was his idea, his initiative, who get around the communities and just help. They want to impact people. They want to help the poor. They want to help the impoverished. They want to help by serving the city. And so whether that's feeding people or fixing up facilities of places that don't have any money to do so, that's what George and the Serve the City team do. And that's why he is in the pink shirt, because once you've seen that pink shirt, you'll never ever want to wear another shirt in your life, and you'll want to be part of the Serve the City team. So that's Georgie. And then Rajan Reddy. Mr. Reddy is with us today as well. Raj is passionate about kids. He loves kids. He's in our Kids Zone team, has been for years. If you speak to this man, you're going to have kids oozing out of you. He just oozes passion for kids. He just loves children, and he's been an incredible part of that Kids Zone team, helped to build Kids Zone team to what it is today, and so much of the strength in that team is due to him, and I get to experience and witness firsthand what Kids Zone is like, because my kids come back after every week and tell me exactly what went down in Kids Zone. I get to hear it all, and I get to hear about what an incredible man he is. And so, without further ado, can I ask you, would you stand to your feet at 8 o'clock and welcome these three amazing people up onto the platform? Come on, give them a warm Thrive welcome. Thanks, everybody. Have a seat. We are going to have a conversation. Raj, take the blue chair, and then Georgie, you can bring it up on the other side. We're going to have a conversation about the power of belonging today. And I think when you've heard their stories, I think you'll understand and you'll realize why belonging is so powerful. So we're in a series at the moment called A Place to Belong. And the burden and the thought and the thing that's on our hearts is to connect every single person in this church, every single person in the auditorium, and every single person online, is to connect you, to not let it be that one person comes into this place, one person hangs online without knowing exactly where to go to connect. There's two ways you can approach church. Do you know that? You can think of church as a place that you go to on a Sunday morning, or you can think of church as your identity. In other words, you can have a theology that says we go to church, or you can start to develop a theology that says I am the church. Every member is a minister. every member is a minister. And that's really what these three people embody, and that's why their stories are so powerful. So let's start with Joy. We'll go ladies first. Joy, welcome. It is good to be able to have a chat with you today. So tell us a little bit firstly about your Thrive journey. Like how long have you been connected into Thrive? Let's start there.
Sure, okay. I have a few minutes.
Yeah.
So we actually joined Thrive about 10 years ago. And we connected for about a year, and then due to some challenges that we were having personally as a family, we left the church. Didn't handle it very well, and kind of never planted ourselves anywhere since then. That was like around 2009, 10, and never really had roots anywhere else. And about 4 years ago, we were again looking for a community to join, and prayed about it, and fasted, and sought God, and He led us right back to Thrive.
Awesome.
As our home.
Awesome, awesome. So it's been 4 years that you've really been like that. Just, guys, there's a bit of feedback. Can we address that, please? Just bring your mic up a touch, Joy, if you wouldn't mind. So when you think community, I mean, you and Brandon are very community-minded, very family-orientated, got lots of family, got lots of friends, got lots of community. When you think community, what do you think? When what comes to mind here?
So Pastor B, firstly, just the community that I grew up in as a child. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. We grew up in a community where we knew everyone on our street.
Yeah.
In Durban. Everyone was a family. So as kids, we felt protected. We felt like everybody knows us. Everyone's parents were our parents. They took care of us. They watched over us, and just a sense of safety and security.
Great, yeah.
That's what I think.
Can I ask you a question? Is there any Indian in Joburg that doesn't come from Durban originally?
I'm sure there are many, but Rajan and I...
Raj is going to tell you now. When I grew up in Durban, let's just listen. What's this community mean to you? This community, Thrive, what does it mean to you?
Thrive community means everything to us as a family. Before we got here, we weren't, as I said, we weren't planted anywhere, and our family was, just, I would say, not cohesive. We didn't have a purpose. We were kind of floating around, and community, and particularly Thrive, has given us a sense of purpose as a family, brought us back to our God-given calling for us and our children. And ever since we've surrendered to that call of God and surrendered to being part of the community, it's just changed our lives completely.
Completely. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and your families all serves, all adds so much to our community. Really, really you do. I'll come back to you now, Joy. Raj, firstly, tell us, what age do you start playing football? Let's talk about the really important things in life firstly.
So I started playing professional football at the age of 7 years old.
Wow.
In KZN, and I played...
You see, just saying. In Durbs.
Yes, in Durbs. Yeah, so I played for many years, and unfortunate circumstances, I was selected to play for the South African Under-21 squad, and I was about 19, 20 years old, and an unfortunate thing happened. I tore all my ligaments on my right knee, so that brought an end to my football career. But it didn't stop there. I had a lot of ups and downs. I was a runaway from church, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I never was interested in being in a community. My mom and dad had church in the house. That's where church started. And it's gone into ministry. They've been in ministry for the last 30 years. But it wasn't for me at that time. Not it wasn't for me. Let's put it this way. I was just wanting to run away like Jonah.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of trials and tribulations and punishment until I realized what it's going to do for me to actually belong to a community and serve. And that is why I'm so passionate about Kids Zone. Kids Zone is my life. Kids, if I could have 20 kids, I'll be more than happy. But yeah, kids are just my life.
Does Ramona agree?
Ramona's also passionate about kids, but two's enough for her.
I have a friend who says that if you have two, he's got 4 kids, but he says if you have 2, all you've done is reproduced, because a married couple, 2 kids, all you've done is reproduced. In order to obey God's command to go forth and multiply, you must have more than 2.
So I think I'll send Ramona for counseling. Later.
Yeah. What does this community mean to you?
Well, like I said, Kids Zone is my community, and that's where I belong. And the reason I say it's a community, inside Thrive, we have little communities all over. So Thrive is one big community with little communities inside.
Yeah.
And Kids Zone is where I believe you can really set the future. You can communicate and you can build young kids to do what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So that is why that community, it means a lot to me. It's just blessed. You know, I believe in the scripture, it's from Amos 3:3, no two people can walk together unless they've agreed. And that community that I'll talk about, Kids Zone, is a community that has agreed to walk together.
Yeah.
And they're just building, and it's just fantastic in there. That's my community. That's what community means for me. Kids Zone is my community.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
It's the passion that they have for the kids and changing nappies on a Sunday and just growing with the kids makes it fantastic. You know, you can see the future before anybody else and what it's going to be.
Absolutely.
So that is what's community for me. So yes, Thrive is my community, but the little community that we serve in is the community that brings out the best in you.
Absolutely. I want you to picture for a moment, say you didn't have Kids Zone as a facility, as a community. How do you think your experience would be here? Like, what would it be like for you?
It'll still be royal. It'll still be fantastic, but it'll just be a little bit more in Kids Zone. So yes, community is great. Thrive's great. But just being involved in Kids Zone makes it the best.
Yeah. And it's your leaders and it's your kids. Hey?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's your leaders are one community, but then you've also got these kids that you're with.
Yes, the kids are fantastic. You know, you look forward to every Sunday morning because you don't know what experience they've been through in the week and how to deal with it. Unless when you start talking to them, and it just brings out that passion to say, okay, I'm here for these kids. I need to support them. I need to build this community. So for me, as an individual, Thrive's fantastic. I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Because from where I come from and where I am now, Thrive's played a major part in my life.
That's awesome.
But the biggest part that's been playing in my life is Kids Zone.
Yeah.
They've actually put me to a position where I can say I'm firm in Christ because of these kids and what they teach us every week.
Yeah, awesome. Roger's going to be taking sign-ups for Kids Zone after the service. You can WhatsApp the word Kids Zone if you're watching online. Otherwise, you can meet him at the info desk and he'll sign you up. He's like a second-hand car salesman when it comes to Kids Zone. He will sign you up. He will sell you. He loves kids. Can't you just feel the passion oozing from him? Eh? He really does. I love what you're saying about the future. You get to see the future. You know, before any of us in adult church see them starting to come through the ranks, you've already seen them. You see them close up.
Yes, that's true. We see them very close. And it's amazing what we have coming up. And our future is bright, and our community is going to be brighter.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
So we're going to really enjoy this.
Yeah, awesome, Rog. Thank you. George Aldridge, he's married to Nicola. They have two gorgeous girls. They look like their mom.
Thank goodness.
George, you've got the biggest heart. You know, when George drives me to Edenvale and back some Sundays, he's always chatting to the guys who are standing at the robots. He's dishing out stuff. He's finding things to give them. And that heart carried through to Serve the City. Tell us a little bit about Serve the City. For those who may not know why you would wear a pink shirt.
Let me start at the beginning. So it was something that was laid on my heart a good couple of years ago. And I was never quite in the right environment to make it happen. Then I joined Thrive. Myself and my wife came here, and literally from day one, we felt a sense of comfort and peace. We felt the love and warmth of the church. And as we got to know people in the church, and you know what the church's ethos is about giving back, about serving, I I realized now's the time to do it. So I approached Pastor B, told him what my idea was, and he said, man, go for it. So we started 3 years ago, Nelson Mandela Day. We did our first project, and we've just grown from strength to strength since then. Got about 16 guys on my team. We meet generally once a month, and we either make up food parcels and we drive around Boksburg and Benoni and we feed all the homeless people. But currently our main project for the year is we're doing a lot of work at a children's home in Boksburg called Kuselo. They're an NPO, and obviously finances are very tough to come by. So thankfully we've got a couple of sponsors that send us money every so often. So we've been able to go in there and make quite a big difference with regards to electrical work that needs to be done, plumbing, painting, just
awesome.
making the living environment for the kiddies a little bit more home-like. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. I was chatting after the ladies' event on Friday, after Hope Ladies last Friday. I was having dinner with a lady called Leonie, and she was telling me she's part of the Serve the City team. And she said, please mention, this is not a guys-only team. So just because they walk around in pink shirts as men, it's not guys only, right? You're welcoming women with open arms, aren't
Absolutely,
you? Yeah.
absolutely. I started chatting to Leonie last year when we were doing the collections at the spa with Mark, and she showed a keen interest in getting involved. And yeah, she's our first lady. So
She's the first lady.
her shirt's on order. It's blue.
She's getting a blue shirt. Love it. Love it. I get to see the visuals of what it is that you guys are doing and the projects that you get involved with. So I get to see some of that. We're going to be showing the church that in the next few weeks, just so that people can get a sense. Because sometimes we can feel helpless. Hey, we wonder to ourselves, what can we do? Because the need looks so big. But here's it dawned on me the other day. Sometimes we think we think the need is so big, so we do nothing. Whereas everybody can do something. And when we just grab a hold of the fact, and I love that, George, that you guys are doing something.
I read a poem once, and it said that a guy walked down to the beach, and on the beach there was probably 1,000 starfish that had washed up onto the shore.
Yeah.
And he thought to himself, oh my word, how am I going to, assist all of them? So he started one by one, just throwing them back into the ocean. And I honestly feel that although our impact currently is a small one within the community, our aim is to reach out and grow as big as we can and help as many people as often as we can.
That's awesome. So once a month, if you want to join the boys in pink shirts or the ladies in blue shirts, they do that once a month again. You can get anything you need at the info desk, or you can just WhatsApp Serve the City, and then we'll give you all the info that you need. Thanks, Georgie. Joy, you've grown up like in a church setting. If I just say to you, here's an opportunity to speak to the congregation about the importance of community. Like, what's it done for you? What's it meant for you and your family? If you're trying to sell community, what would you say?
Sure. So, yeah, I think I was a little bit like Rajan as well. Growing up as a pastor's daughter, you get to a point where you just feel you want to run away because you're churched out, and
Yeah.
you're there every week, and you're serving, and you're in prayer meetings. You're literally in church every day of the week.
Yeah.
So at some point, you get a bit frustrated, and it can become a bit much. But obviously, there comes a point in your journey where you discover God for yourself, and you have a real connection with Him. And that happened with me, as I'm sure it does with a lot of people. And I had to come to a place where I, committed to being part of a community. And I really found, I think at the top of my mind was a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
For me, that's a really big
that's right.
thing. I don't want to just do things for the sake of doing them. I don't want to do things just to pass the time or because other people are influencing me to do it. I really want to live my life intentionally and live it on purpose. And I have not found that in any other community besides the body of Christ. That is the place where I really get to live out my gifts. that God has given me. I really get to be a blessing to the people that I come in contact with. I love people.
Yeah.
I love life group. Our life group is so big, and we don't want to split. It's like so bad. We want to stay together forever. But just, finding that sense of purpose for me is one thing. And then
Yeah,
secondly, what it has taught me is that I'm not alone. I have a group of people around me, some of them older and so much wiser than I am, that can help me navigate so many things in my life. I mean, we went through so much as a family. We struggled through things that we didn't have to struggle through because we had people around us, and we pushed them away when we should have actually pulled them closer.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest lessons that we learned, is that there are people around you. You don't have to tell them everything. You just have to be able to be a little bit vulnerable, share your story, and accept that help when it's given to you.
Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I think what you're saying is so important. When we go through tough times, I don't know about you guys, but I know even I can feel it, but maybe you've got friends or family members, or maybe this has been part of your journey and your experience. When we go through tough times, the tendency, it's so easy to withdraw.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a lot to do with shame. I think we feel that we're the only ones going through the situation that we're in, and it's so bad. What are people going to think of me? People are going to judge me, and we feel shame. We feel embarrassed. We feel that we're not going to be accepted if people find out about what's happening in our lives.
Yeah. It's shame is such a powerful emotion, isn't it? If any of you are wanting to dive into shame a little bit and just understand it, in the series that was just before this one called Untangling Emotion, Kulu preached a brilliant message on shame and the effect of what shame does. But just as you're talking and you mentioned a little bit like Raj, you were the runaway at one stage. The thing that took the prodigal son away initially was pride, but then what would have kept him away for a little bit was shame. Until such time as he came to the realization that his father loved him.
Yeah, so good.
And you know what, guys? Here's the honest truth. Until you and I come to the realization that people actually are for us and not against us,
So good.
that actually people want to help and not judge.
Very good.
And that's one of the most powerful things about a church community, a healthy church community,
So good.
is that we're growing in grace as a church.
Very
It's
good.
not that people are becoming more perfect or that people set them up themselves up as perfect people. Because actually, anybody who does that, people realize, what, that's fake. It's plastic. It's not real life. And actually, I read a statement once that really changed the way I think about this, that said vulnerability is the pathway to intimacy. And if you want a pathway into a friendship that's deeper than any other friendship you've had, well, you and I, we've all got to become vulnerable and allow ourselves to share a little bit deeper than what we are. Life is not Instagram. Hey, life is not Facebook. It's real. We've all got issues. We've all got struggles. And the moment we allow ourselves to share, that pathway starts getting formed, Raj, for you, as you and Ramona look at your family and just your connection here, where do you think, what do you think the greatest gifts to your family have been? With you serving a kids zone and Ramona doing and your kiddies, and what difference has it made to your family? What do you think the community's given to your family?
So in saying what the community has given to my family, I have two kids, by the way. One's Belizia, who's 4 years old, and the other is Lizalia. She's turning 14 on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the community for me has given something fantastic to my family, especially my kids. Like I said, I was a little runaway, but my kids have shown me a different side just belonging to this community.
Yeah.
My little one just simply loves worship, and that has been installed to her through the community. When she sees the youngsters and she sees the old people dancing and jiving in church, she does the same thing at home. It's actually installed a spirit of worship in her. So this community is helping her grow into a young, beautiful child that's going to be in fellowship with God. It's not going to be like me that ran away.
Yeah.
She's going to. And then if I look at the eldest one, and that's really sparked me. A young teenager, she's growing into a beautiful young girl. She's here every Friday. She's here on Sunday. She serves in Kids Zone. She also serves in Youth Extreme. So that is what this community has actually helped my family, help them get involved in ministry at an age where they should be getting involved, instead of getting mixed up in the wrong things.
Yeah.
And especially girls, it's for, so me, this community is like brilliant because this is what it's installed in my family. It's installed that we work together as a team. And you can only get things together if you work as a team. And I'm so grateful that the community that I have belonged to has installed these in my kids.
So you're a Kids Zone leader. I'm going to give you an opportunity now to talk firsthand as a Kids Zone leader to parents who might be sitting here who, one of the challenges is as a parent to make sure that your Kids Zone every week. Many people bring their kids once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, once a month. Just tell us from a Kids Zone leader perspective how the difference it makes to have a child with you every week, as opposed to like once a month or once every 3 weeks. Talk to us about like momentum and friendship and the connection that happens, and like how you can get the teaching into kids. Because I know it's a big frustration for you guys. You're just starting to connect, and then the kid, you don't see them again for 5 weeks.
Yep. Pastor B, that's one of the difficult things that we have in Kids Zone, is that we start to form a relationship from the day that your kid comes in.
Yeah.
And for us, that relationship needs to be built every single week. And it's so important that parents try to bring their kids every week, It makes a huge difference on our side. Because, for example, if I use Caitlin, Caitlin and I see each other every second week I see her because we have slots for teaching. But the connection that we both have is that she can come up to me and say, Uncle Raj, this is what happened here, and this is can you help me? Or can you tell me what's going on?
She comes to know you.
Yeah. So the relationship is formed. So no matter where you are or where you're sitting or no matter where you're walking in a mall, that kid remembers you.
Yeah.
Every time you connect with him, it makes it easier and simpler to have him with you than seeing him every 5 weeks or every month. It just makes it difficult. But for us to form a relationship and for your kid to get the best out of this ministry, you should be trying your best to bring him every single week to us.
That's great, Raj. Because I know your kids are so close to your team's heart. Yeah. It's like these guys actually miss your kids when they don't see them. Yeah. They're like, where's that? Where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? It's like they're right close to their heart. It's interesting. The Israelite priests, the Jewish priests, would wear a breastplate with 12 stones on it in the Old Testament. You know why there were 12 stones? It was because each stone represented a tribe of Israel, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. The reason why God implemented that dress for them was because the priests were supposed to have the people close to their heart.
Yeah, so good.
So the stone was always close to the tribes, were on their heart, literally on their heart. And I want to say this about the Kids Zone team. The kids are very much on your heart all the time, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
They really, really are.
They are, to round it up, the kids are our biggest part of being there.
Yeah.
Without them, there is nothing.
Yeah.
And for us to be there, we need them. And without them, like I'll always say, that the Kids Zone will be nothing. The kids are the ones that actually make it for us to be present and to teach and to build and to form relationships. And just to grow them is fantastic. So I encourage each and every parent to try and put their kids first and bring them to Kids Zone on a Sunday. We have a fantastic team. They're willing to take care of your kids. We're willing to change the nappies, so don't feel shy. Please bring them along. We really love them.
That's great. Thanks, Raj. Georgie, can I ask you a question around taking that first step? Because I think you shared with me sometimes like it can be environments can be difficult. They can create anxiety within us. One of the things that some people might feel anxious about is like actually joining a team or getting part of a team. You actually had to start one from scratch. Like there wasn't a Serve the City team. Can you share a few words of encouragement with people here who might be wondering, how do they get over the hurdle of actually making the decision and like becoming part of something?
Believe it or not, people that know me quite well will probably think I'm lying when I say this, but when I first came to Thrive, I was extremely shy. I didn't speak to many people. I didn't say much. I just came and did what I needed to and went home. I think just the sense of, again, going back to being in the community and just the love that and welcomeness that you get at this church kind of put my mind at ease and just made me realize, look, Thrive has always said, come as you are. And I started to realize that all I need to do to fit into the community is just be myself. So once I realized that, I thought, let me give it a bash. Let me give back, and it's borne so much fruit already. So it was difficult in the beginning, but once I started to get my confidence, and I got my confidence by being surrounded by uplifting people.
Yeah.
The friendships that have been formed in the church, just all those little things added to the pot increased my confidence, and that's what it was all about. Once my confidence was there, I was ready to rock and roll and
you had
get
to
going.
make that first call, hey? Who was your first team member?
Cole Basner.
Cole.
So what actually happened was I've had this idea for a long time, and one Sunday after church we were going to take our kids to Wee Jump. So Janine and Cole were like, "Well, let's join you." So cool. So we went down, took the kids. Afterwards went to Spur for a meal, and I said to Cole, "I need to speak to you about something," and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" So I said, "No, all good." So I told him about my idea, and he said to me, "Go for it. It's an amazing idea, and if you get it going, I've got your back 100%. So Cole is pretty much my right-hand man. He helps me run the team, and that's how it all started.
Sure, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Joy, just as we close, one of the roles you play is on the worship team, and you've also got your son Josh on the worship team. For those who may not know, the worship team practice every Thursday evening, and then obviously Sunday mornings they're here bright and early. I'm sure there are many Thursday evenings where you've had just a heck of a day, crazy day. The last thing you feel like doing is going to worship practice, right? I mean, if we're honest, there's moments where you go all life group, like the same would hold true. Tell us about how you feel after worship practice, sometimes all life group, and how you feel before. Like, why is it worth pushing through and staying belonging even when you've had a terrible day, even when you're tired, even when you're done, even when you actually don't want to see zero people? Yeah.
So I run a business, and I'm a mom of 3 kids, of all different ages. So my life is quite hectic.
Yeah.
So definitely, Pastor B, when I have had a hard day, I feel like, let's just give it a skip. But I cannot tell you, I'm so passionate about worship. I love worshiping God. My kids think I'm crazy. I sing all day. There's music playing all day at home, even while I'm working. But I can honestly say that on the days that I've pushed through, I have such energy and just such peace after I've had a session of worship where we come together as a team and we just worship God. And even with life group, I mean, there are so many people at our house, and kids are running crazy, but it just energizes me. I have no idea how, but I just feel alive and energized, and worship
Purpose,
does that.
yeah.
Absolutely, worship does that, and I think being around people also encourages me so much. So for me, it's life-giving. It's absolutely life-giving, and I actually live for the Thursdays that I have to come to worship practice.
Yeah,
so.
that's all. It's your tribe, eh?
It's my tribe.
It's your tribe. But you mentioned that word passion. You mentioned a few words, passion being one of them. And I think maybe that's where I want to land it today for us. Each one of these 3 who've joined me today, I mean, whether it's George with a passion to see poverty and to see poverty alleviated, or to see people who are struggling helped. I mean, Rod, you can tell he kids is his vibe. It's just his thing. And joy is just worship from the inside out, and that comes across in your worship, Joy. We can really, your folks named you well. The thing is, when does this become life? It becomes life when you've got a passion. When you find your passion. When you find your God-given passion. I'm looking at people in our congregation right now who've got a passion for feeding people. They come every month and they make up food parcels for people in our community who need it. They don't do it because it's sexy. They don't do it because anybody's watching. They do it because they're passionate about it. And that's their community. And find your passion. Life's too short to go through life without a passion. Find something that you can be passionate about. And those of you who are not in a serving team, not in a life group, the only way you'll find it is by giving it a bash. You might join one life group. You might go, this is not my tribe. Try another one. You might join one serving team. You're in the ushering team. The ushering team are the most amazing people because they have to put up with all the grumpy people who don't want to sit where they get asked to sit. You might think, this is my tribe, I fit here. Or you go, no, info desk, or making coffee, or whatever the case is, but you'll never know unless you try. So my question to you is, find a place where you can outlive your passion, because your life will never be the same ever again. All good? Can you say yes and amen? 8 o'clock. Can I ask you to stand to your feet and give these three an amazing thank you. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much.